Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Doctor Who related video. In today's Doctor Who related video we're taking a look at this, the standard versus the limited edition collection of Blu-rays. Yes, I've recently picked up the standard edition of the collection set of season 12. Now you might be thinking, hang on, are you converting, are you changing, are you switching to the standard? No, it's a simple answer. We're halfway through the collection range and I thought it would be a sort of a nice video to sort of look at, now we're halfway through the collection range, to look back at the first collection set with season 9 just around the corner. That marks a halfway mark, which I'm so excited for season 9 because it's got my favourite story, the Sea Devils, and it's the Third Doctor, and this channel is dedicated to the Third Doctor, so I thought it'd be cool to do that. So you might be wondering, well, why have you picked up season 12? If you're a Third Doctor fan, surely you'd get a Third Doctor one. Well, I own the first edition of season 12. As you can see, there is no second edition thing. This is the 2018 version of season 12. And this version of season 12 has a few teething issues. The sound on the Sontaran Experiment's a bit iffy. And I think that same issue is on Revenge of the Cybermen, and I think the visual effects have got some sort of fraying around it. So, this is sort of giving me a chance to double dip and go, now I've got the better version of these stories without any of the sort of teething issues the first one has. So I thought it'd be a nice way to sort of double dip, take a look at the standard edition, see whether the grass is greener on the other side, because I think there are pros and cons for both of these editions, and we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll do a comparison of the actual box sets themselves. And we'll sort of decide, which is best for you, because every collector is different. Every collector has their own sort of requirements, as it were. So yeah, we'll take a look at these two editions really. Presentation-wise for season 12, so here we have the limited and the standard. The standard, definitely, it's a Blu-ray because you have the Blu-ray banner there. So yeah, one thing you'll notice straight off the bat with these collection sets is that the standard is ever so slightly shorter. So if you were to mix and match these on your shelf, then they'll be ever so slightly shorter. I guess I'll do a little video sort of showing how it would look if you had the other limited edition ones in the lineup. But artwork wise, the artwork is pretty much the same. It's identical really. I just think it's sort of a false perspective because that seems a lot more zoomed in compared to the standard, but it's it's the same artwork. Both contains 6 discs. The only real change with these is you're getting exactly the same content on the discs. It's just how you want the set to be presented, how you want it to look on your shelf. So if we move to the side, one thing we said when these collection box sets started to come out was, my goodness, they're going to save a lot of space on the shelf, because you just got to look behind to see how the DVDs would look and how much room that takes compared to these box sets. And the standard edition was like, hold my beer, I can save you a lot more space, because I think that's about 2 DVDs thick really, compared to this box set, which probably feels about 4. I guess season 12 is a bit of a bad example in sort of shelf space saving, because there are a lot more chunkier box sets like season, like the 8 discs Blu-rays, and I guess when season 1 comes out, that would be interesting to see how compact that will look. But obviously, because this is sort of a short season, you don't really get to see the benefit of how small it is, but you can see the differences. But you can see that the limited edition one has a sort of a slightly darker grey compared to the standard. There's a nice little difference there. On the back, pretty much identical really, just the same little features. Of course, this has a J card, so if we remove the J card, we can get a glimpse of the back, which of course has the TARDIS in the vortex. That does not have that feature at the moment. So if we remove the slip cover for this, because if we move to the side, you can see the sort of big chunky case for this. So if we open it, this is the first time I've actually opened this, so we've got the clean artwork, so you can still enjoy the clean artwork for both releases there. And on the back we do have the TARDIS there, which is nice. That's nice that that's been concluded. But I will say, I'm not a fan of just Blu-ray cases. They just seem a little bit iffy to me. So if we open the limited one up, you can see we have the nice housing for the booklet and the disc tray, and if we open the standard one, we have just the booklet there, and hiding behind there I think we have Robot, there we go, and then we have the discs there. Again, all 6 discs, very much identical discs. I know Sontar Experiment, Genesis of the Daleks, and then we have Revenge of the Cybermen and the bonus disc. Now I will say the standard edition does have a 1 point up over the limited edition, because just look how sturdy that disc tray is. In terms of discs for the limited edition, discs are exactly the same, but the disc tray, I have to say the standard wins this one, because the way these box sets are sort of constructed, they're just held on by 4 like blobs of glue, and over time they will sort of come undone. You can just see the glue there sort of holding it together. These box sets aren't very durable. I feel like you need to wear sort of white gloves and be ever so delicate holding these, because any moment now you think that's gonna break. My season 8 copy, the disc tray's completely fallen out, so I think that over time these sets are just gonna probably disintegrate. But you know, I think that these standard editions are a lot more durable, and you know, they can take a shelf dive and they'll be fine, whereas that you're hope and pray that it's still intact. Now one thing you'll notice is the back of the standard Blu-ray is the TARDIS, which is basically the DVD menu, whereas with the limited edition, if we open it up, there's a lot more faff. You get a nice bit of artwork there of the opening title sequence, which is nice. So you get bonus artwork with the limited edition, and again you get to enjoy the clean artwork of the back of the release. And then we have the booklet, and then we can see a better render version of that TARDIS there. So it's nice to see that's included, and it's a nice way of just sort of displaying that set by having the TARDIS there as sort of a backdrop for both of these. So I guess the next thing is to take a look at the actual booklet. So okay, so we've got this chunky booklet, as you can see, from the limited, and this is your standard, so you can see the size difference there and the chunkiness. So with the limited edition one, you get a whole load of detail about this. So you get sort of an intro for these, and you know, the disc breakdown, artwork, the development of the stories, and sort of the reception, the recording, the after image of how fans perceive it. So it goes into a lot of in-depth look about each story, which is really nice, the ratings and all that sort of stuff. So if you're into your sort of behind the scenes stuff, which I am, then these are a great sort of hidden gem and a nice little bonus to include with these box sets. Really, they're a nice little addition there. Whereas this, I believe, I've not opened it up yet, this is probably just basically what's on each disc, which I guess is a bit more of a comprehending thing. We've got a few little quotes there, but yeah, I think it's a lot more of a precise version. So if you haven't got time to be reading that, you can just basically know what's on each disc. Yeah, so it's a lot more simpler. You still get the artwork for the stories, which is nice, but you just don't get sort of the recording and after image of these things. So yeah, you really can see sort of the difference and sort of the thickness there of the booklets. So yeah, that's one big noticeable change really with these standard versus limited. I guess that depends what you want, whether you're interested in knowing all the juicy behind the scenes stuff and how sort of fans perceived it afterwards, or you just want to go straight to the point and know what's on each disc really. So here we have some of the collection sets. So this is how the limited editions will all look together at the minute. But if we add the standard edition of season 12, so if you push season 12 limited edition one back, we can see how it would look with the other ones. So you can see there is a height difference, and you can see how much room it is saving getting the standard edition. And it's interesting just to get a sort of a size comparison. So here we have season 2, big chunky box set, and then if we get the standard season 12, yeah, my goodness, you can see just the difference in size. I know this is a chunkier season, but you can see how much sort of space they do save on the shelf there. But yeah, you can see there we go, that is season 12 and season 2 together. So that is a little bit of a lineup. So let's do a little Okay, so is the standard edition worth it over the limited? Well, when these sets started to come out, you know, this was a different ball game because the collection sets would sell out. You'd have to pre-order them pretty much on the day they were announced to be guaranteed to have these. And I think we've seen a shift in these. These limited edition ones have been maybe printed in a higher quantity, but they're sticking around more. You know, season 22 and 24 are still in stock, and I think season 2 is still in stock in season 17. So it proves that they are being done in, I think, a higher quantity. But I think if I had a time machine and if I knew this was coming, I probably would still stick with the limited edition, because for me, this feels like I own a season of Doctor Who. For me, it just feels like a box set, and I want to have that sort of that tangible feeling of this is a season of Doctor Who. Whereas if you are short of space, and let's be honest, all us Doctor Who fans are kind of struggling with space because we buy a lot of merch, and whatever bit of, you know, shelf space we can save is great. So I think that this is a lot more of a better advantage if you are struggling with space and you want to enjoy these collection sets, and you can, because the content is exactly the same. It's just how you want to display it on, you know, which way you want to display it. I'm trying to think of how to put it, but you kind of get the drift. It's just what version you rather have on your shelf and go, that's my Doctor Who physical media collection. The booklet as well, I think the booklet as well is a big sort of factor, because this is kind of, you know, straight to the point, going, right, you want to know what's on Robot? Here is what's on Robot. Whereas this is more of a, by the way, do you want to know the history about Robot? Sure, no problem, I'll tell you. So I like that aspect. So I feel like you are getting a bit more out of it in a way. It just feels like a more of a products you can digest and savour and enjoy. Whereas, like I say, this is straight to the point. But I will say the standard does have one big advantage over this. This is gonna outlive this, because this is made of like a cardboard. This is, you know, in your standard Blu-ray case. It can take a shelf dive, it will survive. Whereas this is just held on by a piece of string and glue, really. A bit like classic Doctor Who. So I guess there's a nice little charm. It's I wouldn't say cheap and cheerful, but you know what I mean. Price wise, these I think are priced at 38 quid, whereas this, when it came out, I think was 39. But obviously the box set prices have gone up from 45 to 50 pounds now. So again, it's a cheaper alternative. You might have to wait a little bit longer to get the season, but you can, you know, still enjoy the same content, which is the main reason we're buying these, for the new special features and all that lovely stuff, new picture quality. You still can enjoy that. It's just, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, really. Like I said at the beginning, every person has their own sort of requirements of their Doctor Who collection, and for me, the limited just sort of scratches that itch. You know, I like this, but I like this better. You know, it's just a nice little way of just going, you know, it's cool just to see how each set looks. And for me, I like to have that sort of physical thing, this big chunky thing, and go, this is a season of Doctor Who, this is what I want to represent Doctor Who on my physical media shelf. Whereas this, it doesn't really scratch that itch for me personally. Just having it in a sort of standard Blu-ray case, it just feels like, yeah, it's fine, but this is a nice little premium thing. So yeah, like I say, it's all down to your own personal preference. There are pros and cons for both releases. I think the main pro for this is essentially it's not going to fall apart and disintegrate. So yeah, that very much concludes this sort of little look of, you know, are the standard editions worth it? It was nice just to have a little look, but I'm not converted just yet. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time for more Doctor Who related content. So thank you very much, and bye bye.